Sie hören Sport und Musik.
Das Spiel ist aus! Deutschland ist Weltmeister!
In a world where fans fight over whether to call it football, or soccer, two German men defy the odds and call it Fußball. Bringing you inside the German-American football experience. And now, here are your hosts, the Schnitzel Boys.
Hello! Hey! This is the Schnitzel Boys Daylight Saving Time edition.
Yeah, we're starting about an hour later than usual because I slept in. I almost skipped today. My alarm died. The old phone is dead routine. And my body clock.
And you work nights, we have to explain. It's not just gratuitous afternoon lounging gone wrong. No, you have an evening job.
Thank you for yes. I have an evening job, and I work. Usually, when I do these podcasts tonight, I then go work later. So, which I may be changing this year. I'm trying to. It's unnatural,
right.
But anywho, I apologize for my tardiness. But if you're listening at home on demand, I'm exactly on time.
It doesn't matter. We're always on time.
We're always on time.
Your time is our time.
That's right. We are on demand, Schnitzel Boys. The interactive fan cast. How about that?
The interactive fan cast. Love it.
Well, but we
except
we
if
like,
you want to be interactive,
skip it and go straight to the USA. We're like, no, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. We got Germany hour.
Oh yeah, I mean, the hashtag title race. This is the first time in 10 years that Bayern is not in first this late in the season.
I'm telling you, this is not a test. This is not a drill.
This is the title race. The title race is on. And it could not have been the two contenders, Dortmund and Bayern could not have had different weekends.
And midweeks.
Well, that's true, yeah. Well, Dortmund got eliminated last week, right?
Was it last week?
Yeah.
Wasn't this past Wednesday?
No, they've been out for a week.
Oh God!
I mean, that's worth talking about too, though. All the hype about the Bundesliga just dominating Europe. Poof,
I know.
Just deflated immediately.
There's only two clubs left.
We got two left. Yeah.
Well, Bayern München in Champions League, and then Frankfurt, right? No. Is it Frankfurt? Someone's left in the Europa League. It's not Freiburg. Yeah. They lost
Freiburg. It was not Freiburg. It was not Leverkusen.
Is it Bayer Leverkusen?
I don't think it was Leverkusen. Oh my God!
it is Leverkusen. No,
it is Leverkusen. I thought so. Okay, you were confusing me. Yeah, Union Berlin lost to their fellow Union from Belgium,
that Belgian club featured one great striker named Dante van Zier, who then left.
Yeah, all right.
MLS.
Freiburg also was the recipient of another one of those handball penalties that are technically correct, but like nobody likes.
Oh, that reminds me, Bjorn. Well, yeah. Well, we're going down the rundown. Freiburg was eliminated by Juventus.
Mm-hmm.
Freiburg's reward for finishing top of their group and skipping ahead to the round of 16 as they get the Italian super champions Juventus. Union Berlin losing after destroying Ajax and then losing to Union St. Gilloise or whatever. That's surprising. Yeah. That's a big upset. Maybe it's a big upset.
Well, I guess so. I mean, I don't know.
And then Frankfurt's also out, right? Were they in? Someone else is eliminated.
Frankfurt, they were in.
Anyway, Bayer Leverkusen
was left. Frankfurt was in the. Yeah. Yes, that's true. Two
Bayer
teams
Leverkusen's left. And then Borussia Dortmund couldn't make it past Chelsea, even though it was only by one goal. And there was that.
Yeah, but that was.
It
wasn't that close.
It didn't feel that close, but Borussia Dortmund, we didn't really talk about last week. Borussia Dortmund's penalty kick was taken away because of encroachment of their play. They blocked
yeah,
penalty.
that was a whole other thing. Yeah.
And then their own encroachment had them get Chelsea another opportunity to take it again. And then they took it again. And then they got the goal. That was the goal that sent Chelsea through. But Borussia Dortmund's out. RB Leipzig, though, I would love to talk about that for a quick second.
Well,
they
what
lost
is
7-0 to Manchester City. 5 goals from Erling Haaland.
Yeah.
And again, every time that happened, you flash back to that Vatska quote where it's like Premier League, whatever. Look at our boy. And then we followed like, yeah, our boys doing fine. Said no. Bayern München is the only. Everyone got eliminated. So we're not doing fine. Not this year, at least. The Erling Haaland thing. Like, he scored 5 goals in a single match. And again, I just don't love how Borussia Dortmund treated him just like another forward. They're like, yeah, we'll sell him. We'll get some other guy. It's like, no, you won't.
Well, okay. We've
Erling Haaland. We have been through this.
We've been through this before.
Man City offers serious cash because they have.
Well, and this is always part of the. That's always how it's going to go.
Am I being too ideal, being an American businessman, calling up Puma and be like, "Hey, Puma, Erling Haaland needs to stay here in Germany. Let's make this happen. Puma, can you offer him $25 million a year and give him a sweet ad campaign so he can stay here in Germany and not go to England?"
Yeah, I think that's not how the world works, and I don't think it should work that way. What am I trying to say? I think it behooves you as a club to know your place in the world, in the economic echelons of the soccer world are widely different. And I don't think you can win that game trying to compete. I think what Dortmund does is, and I mean, I think it's also built into the experience. It's like if Erling Haaland doesn't even go to Dortmund if he doesn't, without the understanding that he's going to get sold somewhere within a few years, somewhere bigger and more money. And it's like a step in the development. He's like, so this is all part of the experience. Like Jude Bellingham is going to probably be next this summer. Or whenever, and this happens on every level. If we talk about this in MLS, in MLS for a while, MLS was trying to compete in this like, oh, we'll get some stars, and that's just not. I don't know. It's just not. That'll never work. And so
then it leads to the next question. Like if I'm Bayern München, why didn't we buy Erling Haaland? Why didn't Bayern München buy Erling Haaland? Like we're seeing that Robert Lewandowski was the X factor that
because I think he wanted to go to England. I think that seems like it was always his plan.
All right. Well, he did it. He did well. He scored 5 goals in a single match against his old club Leipzig, just to show you he's just another world.
He was part of the RB empire, the Red Bull. He was like, that's behind me, the Red Bull. Right. Now, what's worse, though? What's worse, losing 7-0 to Man City or losing 1-0 to VfL Bochum? The worst is when both of those things happen to you in the same week.
Well, the worst is definitely the 7-0 to Man City, because that's just embarrassment. We're nothing to Bochum is a score that could happen. So that's Europe. Let's go right into it. There was victory in the air, and see, what are we 2 weeks ago? You're like, Bochum is relegated, blah, 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 dun, dun, dun.
It's the reverse Schnitzel boys curse.
Köln, and then this week they beat
on
RB
the road.
Leipzig.
Beat Köln on the road, no less. And they beat RB Leipzig
at home.
And were lucky as fuck to do it. I mean, like, let's be honest. It was a wild game. I don't know. Leipzig came out flying, and they looked like they wanted to take it all out on poor Bochum. All of their frustration in the first half, they just looked like they were a team really in a different stratosphere. They did not really translate all that dominance into a lot of chances in the first half anyway. And then beginning of the second half, Bochum, scored another one of their trademark dodgy free kick, bounces around center back falls to Erhan Masovic, and he just heads it in, doesn't even know quite what's happening. And I was like, oh wow, we have a lead to piss away. And I had no confidence because Leipzig just looked so much better. And they in the second half they were quite dangerous. And it just didn't happen for them. I mean, they were just generated a lot of chances, hit the post, even in stoppage time. Manuel Riemann made a few saves, but this was a lucky victory, but we'll take it. No problem. 3 points.
That's how that works. Bochum
that's how it works.
14th place with a 3-point cushion.
14th place, really continuing to benefit from other teams being even worse.
That's right. Speaking of the other teams being worse, unless you have more Bochum. So I listened to the Christoph Biermann podcast.
Oh, I did too. Yeah.
He watched Bochum and Dortmund in a row.
Right. He went. I heard that he went to the other.
Which is a good idea.
Game. And he
he said that Bochum there was just something in the air. There's just the fans are there. There's like a spirit in the air in Bochum right now, and let's keep it going. But there's an international break now.
That's what I was talking about last week. It's like this is just the Bochum fans' way of life. Like back to the wall, and then ski. I mean, 25 games in, 25 points. Need 3 more wins, I would say. Need 3 more wins to be reasonably safe. And how can we do it? 9 games, 3 wins, possible. But these other teams, Hoffenheim got a win. Pellegrino Matarazzo, we thought that would never happen, perhaps, but they beat Hertha, and Hertha also a mess. Hertha's a mess. Stuttgart's a mess. Hoffenheim's a mess.
I have a little thing for
Schalke got another point. Yeah, what?
Oh. So we're going to the other. No, it's okay. We're going to the other thing.
Trying to make up for lost time.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's a 60-second thing here. How does this work here? What is that? There and share.
Oh, you have a clip.
Yeah,
Pellegrino.
Can you see that? Yeah, right?
Yeah, I can. Let's hear it.
Die ganze Energie, die ganze Frust, Enttäuschung, Wut, gleichzeitig Hoffnung und Aufregung wollten wir in jede Aktion reinstecken heute. Und wie gesagt, nach einer Anfangsphase, die vorsichtig war, haben wir auch ein gutes Spiel gemacht. Viel Herz gezeigt, das habe ich der Mannschaft nochmal gesagt und sie beglückwünscht zum Sieg. Und dann hat Ermin Bicacic die Mannschaft ein Stück weit gefeiert.
I just wanted to hear a little bit from our word Pellegrino. Bjorn, we do the honors. Do you want to hear it again?
Yeah, he's talking about all the frustration, all the hopes, all the disappointments of the last few weeks they wanted to put into every action and every phase of the game. And after they had a little nervy beginning, they played a pretty good game, and then they showed some heart and got a victory, and he congratulated his team for that. And then who's Erwin? Who's Erwin?
Und sie beglückwünscht zum Sieg. Und dann hat Ermin Bicacic die Mannschaft ein Stück weit gefeiert.
Ermin Bicacic. Who's Ermin Bicacic?
Is he one of the players?
He's a guy that then celebrated with the team. I don't know. Is he a musician? A celebrity?
Here we go. You vamp. I'll try to figure out who that is. I'm Ermin. Maybe he's got the hot song of the summer. Ermin Bicacic is a Bosnian professional football player who plays as a center back for Hoffenheim. So he's a Bosnian. He's a center back, okay. Bosnian pro. Guess he had a good game.
Oh, so he got a good game. So he was celebrated also. All right, very good. Pellegrino. It's nice to see him smile, but Hoffenheim still in trouble. Although
for one win, it's his first win. So Pellegrino took over the club And he had 5 losses. I think this is the 6th game, and it's finally a win, and I'm just happy for him. And they got themselves 3 points.
And he's going to need more. He's going to need more than that. Like 3 points every 6 games is not going to do it.
Who's worse off, Hoffenheim or Stuttgart?
Well, Stuttgart's 2 points behind, so I think they're probably worse. I mean, yeah, the Stuttgart thing is...
Yeah, Bruno Labbadia was a bad hire. I thought it was. And then, speaking of Sprachgefühl, in our enemy podcast, they have Fußballdeutsch. They brought up 3 different Fußballdeutsch terms.
I listened to this too. Yeah, it was Befreiungsschlag, Feuerwehrmann. What was the third?
Well, Feuerwehrmann is the one I want to get to.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Good question. What was the third? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Feuerwehrmann was the one I want to get to.
Feuerwehrmann. Well, obviously, as a Bochum fan, I have a lot of experience with this. This is, the Feuerwehrmann is the coach who gets specifically hired to avoid relegation. Like when things become dire, like Crystal Palace just fired Patrick Vieira, and they got Roy. What's his name? Roy Hodgson.
Is it Roy Hodgson?
Who apparently,
is another version
just sits by the pool and waits for Palace to call and say, "Oh, he's like the Feuerwehrmann." He's like, he puts the
fire
on his, the fire, it's
the
like
fire
the
truck guy, the fire
truck guy.
Yeah,
the fire alarm responder.
So
he puts his like light on the car and goes like, "Oh, another call from a team in distress. I cannot deal with traffic. I have to rush to their aid." Yeah, and we had in Bochum, it used to be Rolf Schafstall or Peter Neururer for a while. Those were like the Feuerwehrmann. Like you get the guy who works with young talent and who builds something for the long term, and then if it goes bad and you find yourself in 17th place with 10 games to go, you're like, oh, we got to let that guy go. We're going to get the Feuerwehrmann, but Bruno Labbadia is not doing it in this case. Stuttgart is weird. They appointed all these people. All that stuff was odd. The Philipp Lahm, Sami Khedira, the triumvirate of expertise. I don't know. What have they done? Nothing.
Greg Berhalter's available, perhaps. Anyway. It's the same thing. It's like get your soccer people in. It's like, I guess you need a healthy mix of soccer folk and just 9-to-5 business folk, because they got Bruno Labbadia, who's very Bundesliga 1.0. As far as like he was a big coach 10, 15 years ago, but he's very old school. Just like how Hertha Berlin brought in Felix Magath, perhaps. Yeah,
very handsome man though, Bruno Labbadia.
True. He is like a little mom. Anyway, so Stuttgart, Hoffenheim got their win. Good for them. But like you said, it's just a win. We'll see. I don't know if a corner has been turned or not. We'll see with Hoffenheim. Stuttgart is still dwindling lower. But on the upper half of the table, looking at Bayern München and Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund destroyed Köln.
Yeah, that game was over 15 minutes in. And Köln did not even seem, they didn't even play so poorly. It was just Dortmund just clinical, and they have a lot of, they have a lot of injuries. It's not like they're at full strength. They have some depth. This team, they're contenders.
Yeah, their goalkeeper Alexander Meyer from my grandma's hometown, but Oldesloe, a little bit Oldesloe. He's been getting a lot of minutes this season. I don't know, he's been playing because of the injury from Kobel, right? What's Alexander Kobel? No.
Yeah. Gregor
Kobel. Alexander Nubel. Gregor Kobel has been injured more than once. So Maya has called on to do his thing. He blocked the penalty against Chelsea, if I'm not mistaken, right? Didn't he play against Chelsea? That plus who's the other big injury? There's like another.
Well, he didn't block it.
Julian
Havertz at the post. They have a lot of injuries. They have. Their defensive midfielders. The Emre Can Özcan double pivot was. I really gave them a lot of credit for the defensive improvement. But they're both out, and so they went with Bellingham, De Hood, and Guerrero in the midfield, and still, I mean, also the Zule Schlotterbeck center back, which seemed just disastrous during the World Cup and beyond, but they now seem to be getting it together. It's
Alexander
working.
Maya, it's the Butt Oldesloe in him. He's doing it. He's
and they have a strong bench. Giorena, it's weird. I mean, he came off the bench, but he did not. He's there's something going on there. He does not get he doesn't get as much time as you would think, considering that Brandt is out and Bino Gibbons was out, also injured.
Bruno Kittens, yeah. No, in Gio Reina's defense, his home country's national soccer organization just had a full analysis by a huge law firm that the entire country was following like a soap opera. And the results of the analysis was his family is trash. So he's a little distracted, I guess.
Maybe. Is that what it is? Yeah, perhaps. I mean, he'll have to figure it out. But anyway, Dortmund are contenders, and then they
won it. They're like they just lost Europe. So like, all right, we got one title, Bundesliga. We could do it this year. They're doing it.
This is it. Yeah.
I have to eat some crow because I didn't give much faith to Edin Terzic, but they're doing well under him right now.
Yeah, they are. The team's coming together. They have some depth, and they're going to do it. And Bayern, and it was really a tale of it couldn't have been more opposite.
Right.
You know, Bayern came out pretty lackluster, but then got the goal from Kimmich, and you thought like, oh, this is just going to be one of those things where they kind of
win 5-0, and
they or just like squeeze one out, you know, while not being at their best, but just sort of on talent alone. But no, and then we had the VAR. This was the craziest thing. VAR is only a few years old, but this has to be up there among the weirdest things that ever happened. Do you want to tell the tale?
I'll tell the tale. Without VAR, this game would have been probably 2 or 3-0 for Bayern, right?
2 or 3, okay,
or whatever, because Bayer Leverkusen got 2 goals in this game to beat Bayern München 2-1, which was a big upset. We weren't expecting it, and it came from their forward. I believe number 21, his name escapes me at the moment, running in and being fast and falling over in the box and getting called for diving and being shown a yellow card. And he was furious. He threw his shoe on the field. He was getting really mad with the ref. And I was like, this is about to become a red card because this descent is to the roof. But his defense, the reason his shoe fell off is because the defender
stepped on his foot.
It was a legitimate contact. So then he got the call from Köln, the Kölner Keller, to be like, hey, go take a look at that again. He goes, he takes a look at it again, and sure enough, it was not a dive. It was a real call. So he rescinds the yellow card and gives a penalty. 1-1.
I mean, first of all, that's pretty next level. If you can take your own shoe off while diving, that's a pretty advanced skill.
So he was called out for that. Not a lot of people have that. Divers need to practice that. And then, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes later,
the same thing happens again.
With Upamecano. It was a little soft, right on the edge of the box there. But then he's like, all right, now that's a dive. This is the yellow card I'm supposed to give you. You're a diver, young man. And he yells back. He's like, no, the guy got me. So then he got a call from Kölner Keller again. The referee goes to the VAR, takes a look at it. Deja vu, same thing. There was contact. It's not a dive.
Therefore, a penalty.
It's a penalty. So he goes back, rescinds it again, gives a penalty. They hug in the middle of the field in front of everyone to watch in the middle of the soccer game, which is also a little, it's funny, but unusual. If I'm the other team, I'm like, stop hugging that player. Stop high-fiving our opposing attacking player.
Also, stop giving him yellow cards for diving.
And then they do it 2-1. They also made both penalties. It's a little bit of a miracle as well. And they won the game 2-1. Bayern München was just not in it. I don't know.
And they were good for it too. I mean, it's not just, obviously that is a really weird thing that happened with twice in one game, like the yellow card dive getting called, turned into a penalty. But Leverkusen was the better team. It wasn't just they got lucky with 2 fluky penalties. They were in charge, and they deserved this win. And Bayern just, I don't know. There was a lot of kind of lukewarm, I would call it lukewarm speculation about I don't think there's really any.
I have it off.
Any reasons? Okay, what do you got?
I have a reason. All right, are you ready to translate? Ready to translate, Bjorn?
Please. Oh, we have another clip. Let's go.
We have another clip. So, one of their key players, his mind must have been on something else, because there is a chance that hold on, one of their great players was a little distracted. He had his big. Okay, first and foremost,
I know.
Explain to the audience what Tatort is.
Tatort. Well, yeah. I'm shocked that this is still going. This is like probably one of the longest running TV series in all of humanity. I would think. And this is it's a Sunday night German. It's like a crime show with a rotating cast of characters and investigators. It rotates. 1 week they'll be in. It sort of represents the decentralization of Germany. They're all over the place. It's not some 1 week they get the cast from Duisburg, Berlin, Düsseldorf. I don't know these days what cities they had, but they had some.
Well, this week they were in München.
They were in München, okay.
And Tatort's been on TV since what? 1931? How long has it been on TV?
I have no idea.
Literally from the 50s or 60s.
Certainly long before my birth.
It's Law and Order on steroids. Law and Order has been on TV for 30 years.
Since 1970. It's as long as old as me.
Yeah, so Tatort's like Tatort's German for crime scene, I think. Investigation, pretty much.
Yeah, right? Crime scene. And then Tatort is German for crime scene. 1,172 episodes, and these are
these episodes are an hour and a half each.
Hour and a half. Yeah, this is not episodes. Like a sitcom. Yeah. So they have a full, and they've had some. Well, anyway, how much?
I would like to
Tato, do you want me to talk? Let's hear it.
Present to you a scene from last week's episode.
Okay.
As to maybe offer a real crime. You know how Tatort's about solving crimes? Well, this might be about solving the crime of Bayern München.
Oh, I thought you were saying the crime of bad acting.
Well, we'll talk about that in a second.
Schön habt es hier. Servus.
Servus.
Heyo.
Aber eine Kameraüberwachung gibt es keine, oder?
Hier braucht keine Angst haben.
Waldmeister.
Okay, let's translate that first half. So, a suspected detective walks into a gym, a Munich gym, and a young man, fitness instructor, turns around, and lo and behold, it's Joshua Kimmich. Bayern München superstar Joshua Kimmich is acting in this TV show Tatort.
Yeah, and
mixing you hear is he's mixing a smoothie, right?
A smoothie, yeah. Waldmeister, says the guy.
What is that? Wild? What is
this? Is hard to translate. So he comes in. I guess this is the investigator, the guy on the left.
Yeah.
He was asking if they have any surveillance cameras, and Joshua says no one has to be afraid here. No one has anything to worry about. And so then he makes this green shake and he says Waldmeister, because Waldmeister, I don't even know what Waldmeister translates.
Forest master. I mean, what is that? A troll?
No, it's like a flavor of something.
Oh, okay.
Gallium odoratorum is a flowering perennial plant. It says here. So Waldmeister, it's like it's used to flavor things. So you'd have like certain ice cream. If you had like green, anything that was like bright green would be like Waldmeister flavor. That's why this guy is saying, because his smoothie is bright green, he says, "Oh, Waldmeister." He's assuming that he's making a Waldmeister smoothie.
When any normal person knows just a bunch of spinach chopped up.
Right, and that's why Joshua Kimmich is amused by his faint ignorance.
Ich bräuchte bitte eine Liste von allen, die seit gestern Abend hier eingecheckt waren.
Das wird leider nichts.
Warst du heute Nacht hier? Dann bräuchte ich bitte eine Liste von allen Mitgliedern und vom Personal, wenn es geht.
All right, that's pretty much it. So the joke is this guy loves smoothies. Pretty much right. It's a smoothie guy. So he asked for a list of, what does he ask for, Bjorn? Help us out.
He wants every. I don't know what place is this, a hotel or a gym? Or it's a gym.
Yeah.
He wanted a list of people who checked in and out, and then Joshua says that's not going to work because his check-in machine is defect. It's
he points
broken.
to a sign.
Yeah,
Giant,
defect.
That's defective.
Defect, which means for German for broken. So and then he says, then he asks him if he was there last night, and he shakes his head while
looking really creepily, right?
Yeah, this is an odd performance. I guess it's
my mom loved it. Says it's a really good performance. He's very funny. He's a good actor. So I watched it and I was like, "What are you smoking?" It's like he's just.
This is the only scene he's in. This is it.
He's in 3 scenes.
Oh, okay. He's coming back.
I have to watch. It's an hour and a half.
So there's more to the character. We're gonna learn something about this character. Okay. Yeah.
I bet there's gonna be a
Where
smoothie.
Where do you watch this? You can just watch it online.
Yeah, ald.de. Okay. Yeah, you can. Modern day. I taught my parents how to use the apps, and they don't use it much, but when they do, it's very enjoyable for them because they can go watch any Klimi they want on demand.
I'll watch this Tatort with Joshua Kimmich. Yeah, there's definitely definitely get a sense there's something to this character that
defect, perchance. Defect of the mind. He's like a defect character. I don't know, but anyway, just to let you know. Joshua Kimmich might have his mind sets on Hollywood.
Oh, well,
that's my theory. That's my theory. They're online.
So
you go
distracted.
You go on the website and there's outtakes.
But I'm sure this was shot a while ago. This can't be held responsible. This can't be held responsible for this particular loss. You're pointing to a larger issue of being distracted.
Yeah, he was in Qatar. He flew home in between games to film it, fly back. Now, I don't know whether this is maybe over the summer. Who knows? But I was just joking. That's not my actual opinion. I just think it's funny. My mom texted me that Joshua Kimmich is in Tatort, and online there's a whole behind the scenes and a blooper reel. There's a blooper reel online of all his scenes. They're just loving this Joshua Kimmich.
The Waldmeister, that did make me laugh. He goes, Waldmeister.
Why? But Bjorn, he's a professional detective. How could he be that stupid?
He's making a joke. He's being funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I expect more from my civil servants, but I guess that's just me.
Well, but this is always, these Tatort investigators always have some kind of personality and charm, ideally.
Yeah,
you remember Szymanski? I was just talking about Szymanski.
Yeah, Szymanski. Right.
Szymanski. You don't remember Szymanski?
I didn't. But as far as Klimi, the ones that I'm watching a lot these days, my parents is Zoko Wien, and Zoko Leipzig. Yeah, Zoko also means CSI, kind of. And then
Sonderkommando.
Zoko
is short for, special force, special unit.
Special forces. And then there's Hafen cops, Hamburger Hafen cops. I think it's just called Hafen. Polizei or Hafen, where it's just the day-to-day issues of harbor police in Hamburg. Hamburg. I watched that one. For those of you at home, German television is a lot. If it's not live, it's usually news or live singing. If it's scripted, it's going to be a Klimi. It's going to be an hour-long serial crime
show with a lot of not a lot of action, just a lot of a lot of this kind of thing. Somebody walking into a place making quips, and it's all about
Law and Order.
Yeah, Law and Order, exactly.
And I work for Criminal Minds, the TV show Criminal Minds, And here in the United States, it's like season 16. There's a following here. But I just last night in the studio that I work at, there's a little question, a little basket full of fan mail from all over the world, specifically one country, Bjorn. A lot of letters from one country. What country do you think that is? What country is a big fan of Criminal Minds?
Probably
As
Germany.
the United States, 100% from Germany, baby. As the United States talks about The Last of Us and the other hot shows,
Germany's
The
about
Mandalorian.
Criminal Minds.
Germany's all about Criminal Minds because Klimi is king.
It's Criminal Minds and Mel Brooks in Germany.
Do you like Mel Brooks?
I mean, I don't know if that's the case anymore, but it used to be like,
I love Mel Brooks.
you know, Mel Brooks's later years is sort of straight to video kind of fare. Still got theatrical release in Germany.
Dracula
Yeah,
didn't loving it. Yeah.
Still a big deal in Germany.
Well,
anyway, amazing. All right.
Well, but we have, speaking of Klimi, the next game after our international break is Dortmund and Bayern.
Der Klassiker.
Der Klassiker. Essentially,
Yeah,
effectively, the Bundesliga final.
Do we have a problem with that label, by the way? It sounded like Biermann and Honigstein didn't like that label, Der Klassiker.
Well, I think
it's
marketing
clearly
brand.
It's not really a classic because it hasn't traditionally been. There's only been really a few seasons where these two teams have been truly competitive with each other. But I think it's still fun to give it that name, El Clásico, Der Klassiker. Why not? It's okay.
Who would have a bigger problem with it? People from the Ruhrgebiet or people from Bayern?
Well, probably people from Bayern who feel like, well, this is not really a competition. We've won the last 10. I mean, it's
interesting. I was going for Ruhrgebiet because it's one of those things of like, what? Who are the? Just like how Uli Hesse said, it's like Bayern München are never our rivals. It's like we're still got our eyes on Schalke, and they just they don't treat things serious. They don't treat things super depth.
That's the real classic,
Klassiker, whatever. Anyway,
yeah, that's fair too.
All right. Next, so that's essentially the Bundesliga final on April 1st. Borussia Dortmund.
But not really, though. Not really. I mean, that's obviously a big game, but now the way things are shaking up. Usually these matchups are like, oh, Dortmund's like 5 points behind, but if they win that game, then they might, and then they lose, and it's like, oh, now it's totally lost. This is not the case. Even they can lose this game and still very much be in it.
Yeah, there's still 8 games left.
They would still be, and they would be a point behind if they lose.
But there's a psychological battle to it.
If they win, it's a big deal. But even if they lose,
if Dortmund,
let's put it this way. This way. It's a much bigger game for Bayern than it is for Dortmund. Dortmund can afford to lose it. Bayern really cannot.
But if Dortmund wins it, I'm calling it. That's the end of that.
You're calling it.
That's the end of the season. Dortmund's champions.
It's 4 points with 8 games to go. You're going to call it?
Isn't it 5 points?
They have 1 now, so that'd be 4.
Oh,
if
okay.
They win.
I thought they had 2 now. Okay, that's my mistake. Well, yeah, why not? I'll call it. If Dortmund wins, they win. I'm calling it. Why not?
I mean, why not? Right?
We're not.
Yeah, we don't put any money on it. It's fine.
What that means?
Just say things. We just say things.
What that means is going to be a scoreless draw. Everyone's going to get a point, and then
even that would be good for Dortmund.
Yeah. All right, cool. Did we do everything in German soccer this week? Yeah, we saw from Pellegrino Matarazzo. We saw Joshua Kimmich in a crime scene thriller.
Oh, that on the field and I'm going to watch that whole thing.
I'll send you the link. I'll try to watch. And make sure to watch the blooper reel now. Apparently, the blooper reel is almost more popular than the show itself. All right, thank you all. That was this week of German soccer. See us on the other end.
Very quickly. All right.
American soccer.
See you on the other side.
Cheers.
Goodbye.